Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And guys, we have the May update, the Cat and the Eagle patch notes for you guys here today. And what might be my most uninterested patch notes video ever. Now, it doesn't really have anything to do with the patch notes themselves, more so just my interest in the game, as I expressed a few days ago in different videos and streams. But anyway, we're going to try and give you guys the quick and dirty of it, and then we will carry on. The Cat and the Eagle here. Captains, are you excited for the new update? We've prepared a new 6-week campaign featuring German legendary tier battleship Preußen. Now, I know that it's not exactly pronounced like that, but we won the war, so we get to say it however we want. So the Preußen, along with a mix of historical and fictional events, and don't miss the superstar of the seas, Unsinkable Sam, the legendary cat who survived the sinking of 3 warships and who can now accompany you in battle. So I believe that is a guise. As a commander, guys, yeah. But first, here's our traditional gift. Redeem the code. Go to Code Redeemer, type this in for 1 Spring Big Crate, 10 Sci-Fi Camouflages, and 10 Common Ship XP Boosters. This update isn't bad, and as you guys can see, here's a quick rundown of what's in this update. A new campaign, the Battleship Preußen, which is nice. And I know that people are going to, like, this is where I'm at, you know, like, with these videos and this game. I'm okay with this, even though it's going to mean that newer, more inexperienced players are going to be in battleships at Legendary Tier. But Legendary Tier is already so much of a mess, who cares? If we're going to complain about not getting enough Legendary Tier ships, when they give us one in a campaign, I'm okay with it. Why? Because I'll just sink all the, hopefully, people who have no idea what they're doing at Legendary Tier, and I just hope that they're not on my team. But anyway, the second stage of the Hindenburg Marathon... Excuse me. Retro Futurism event with new ships, skin commander guises, and a calendar. Battle of Jutland event with new ships, Multke, Indefatigable, and Lespig. I'm again saying those all correctly because we won the war. The Hunt for the Bismarck event with free Unsinkable Sam commander guys and more. This honestly is cool. I wish it was like a whole event, but anyway. New Brawl and Fleet Cup seasons, Warhammer 40k, D-Day content returns to the store, Legends coming to Steam, closed beta testing, not sure how that's going to work, but anyway, improvements to the fighter and defensive AA fire consumables, ship balancing changes, various improvements and bug fixes. So the Preußen here looks like it's going to be pretty good. When I did my video about it, I didn't realize, so it apparently has a 2.1 Sigma and battle cruiser dispersion, which is pretty decent. I think they said it's one of the most accurate at the tier, if not the most accurate. Again, I'm paraphrasing there, but it's supposedly going to be a fairly accurate ship. Now, the secondary ranges only look like they're going to be 6 kilometers base from this image here. So the... the 12.6 or whatever I said in that video doesn't look like it's going to happen, but basically think of this as like the German Ohio, so it should be fun, different. Again, if you want to complain, go ahead. It's I don't care. As always, our new campaign features a lot of exciting rewards, yada, yada, yada. If you still enjoy this game, the campaign and the Admiralty backing is always a good idea. If you don't enjoy the game, just don't play it. That's what I got to say about that. Here, the Hindenburg Marathon Stage 2. The marathon rolls on, so you can continue the race for the German legendary tier cruiser Hindenburg during the second stage of the marathon, which lasts from May 19th through June 30th. You can find ship parts via the following sources. You'll typically be able to obtain Hindenburg in July. However, if you already collected a decent quantity of ship parts during the previous update, you can finish the marathon even earlier during this update. So I'm pretty sure if you whaled massively, and I think there was a slight way you could sell things back to get more ship parts, please don't do that. It was like $300, I think, worth of shit. Just don't do that, man. Don't feed into their, drip bleed system worth of, event-style drip bleeds where they just slowly introduce stuff that should have been in the game a long time ago. I'm really excited for the Hindenburg to come to the game for you guys to play, but it just should have been in the game already. But anyway, moving on. So if not, you guys will get our next update. Retro Futurism event, the Path of Progress calendar. This is cool if you want to read it real quick. I'll just pause here for a second. new commander guises for that. That's cool. Battle of Jutland from May 19th. Join us in commemorating the Battle of Jutland, the largest naval battle of World War I. Check out the Battle of Jutland crate for a chance to get new ships: German cruiser Leipzig, German battleship Moltke, and British battleship Indefatigable. I'm pretty fatigable right now, if you feel me. You can also receive new skins for the Agincourt, Albert, Leipzig, permanent camouflages for Tiger 59, and more themed content. So this is kind of cool. I know I made a comment once about like the dorky stuff, but I do enjoy this. I feel like I just don't have time to thoroughly enjoy it. Like if I had more free time, this stuff would be really cool to me, especially as someone who enjoys history. And give Tactic Angels channel a view for the more history related content, and also ask him for a review of the Navarine there. The Hunt for the Bismarck, you can get this Commander Guys Unsinkable Sam, which I kind of want to get. There's just a good bit of history there. More information on that. Brawl Seasons, Fleet Cup Season 4, Codex, Remembering the Battle of Midway, commemorating D-Day. So a lot of historical stuff this update. I think there's some camouflages in the store that you can get for certain ships. But most importantly, improvements to fighter and defensive AA consumables. And for that, we're going to head on over to the Ministry of Balance. And here we go. It has been several months since we've made this many balancing changes in a single update. Here's our epic comeback. Again, it's to the point where I don't care. Like this update is good in terms of balancing changes, but this should be done like every update or every other update, in my opinion. Like you shouldn't have to specify in the patch notes that it's like, hey, sorry we've been gone for so long, but hey, at least we're back. It's like, you know what I mean? But anyway, fighter and defensive AA fire. Fighters, basically they're improved. Your number of attacks is now limited. The range has been increased by 2 kilometers. And this makes carrier play more of a team-oriented effort. If you see that a ship is getting focused, you can throw fighters over it, and you now have more of a chance than, the only way that previous fighters worked, it was if the enemy just didn't have a clue how they worked and flew right into them. I mean, I can count on my hand the number of times that I've, had fighters attack my squadron. But anyway, there's basically just talking about how they increased that. So a special icon will now appear when you are controlling your planes in a zone with enemy fighters. So it does give you a way to sort of counter that, but carrier players are the dorks of Legends, so they'll probably avoid it anyway. I couldn't think of something to say. Defensive AA fire is now at least 1 additional charge across all ships. Some ships receive even greater buffs. ZF6, Yubari now have 3 charges. I don't know why, but there they are. Kansas and Minnesota now have 4 charges instead of 1. They only had 1? Yeah, anyway. The cooldown time has been reduced, though, up to 140 seconds for ships with 3 charges. When they say reduced, I'm pretty sure they mean increased, but reduced in a sense that like it's been nerfed, right? Like because if it's been reduced up to 140 seconds, it hasn't been reduced; it's been increased. But that's a verbiage error there. So I feel like the word reduction just shouldn't be there. Anyway, I'm arguing semantics in English here. The consumable duration has been reduced to 25 seconds for all ships except for the Nicholas and Charles Hughes, which have a duration of 20 seconds. So it looks like and honestly, this is a good change because how often did you ever get to use the second, like, unless you're right next to the carrier, memeing, the only time that long... The duration didn't really matter because the carrier was only going to get 1 strike off anyway, maybe a follow-up strike, but it was still active. So by decreasing the time here and then giving you more charges, you now have more availability to use other than like 1 or 2 of them. So I think that's a nice change. It's 2 years too late, but anyway. Ships that need a buff, AL Formidable, don't care. Carnot, wow, it's crazy. It's like I said, this ship has been dog shit for quite a long time. even after the most recent buffs. And people are like, "Oh no, it's definitely you." Right. Yeah, so this thing looks fun to play now, finally, after fucking 4 years. But anyway, French cruiser armor with multiple secondary guns, and we decided to buff them, making Carnot a stronger and more desirable choice in battle. Let's see what this is. Secondary battery range increased from 6 to 7. HE shell penetration increased from 17 to 25 and 23 to 35 for the appropriate guns. Secondary battery dispersion improved by 32%. Added enhanced secondary targeting consumable with 4 slot, now giving you a choice between it. Engine boost and catapult fighter and observation seaplane. Powerful AA defensive ship trait has been replaced with secondary reach. This doesn't affect the ship's performance. Okay, so that's just the disclaimer, I think. Yeah. So anyway, Tiger 59. Honestly, this ship is really in a weird spot because it only has 2 guns, but smoke and radar are nice. So main battery dispersion improved by 49.5%. That's pretty crazy. So that they almost halved that circle, or that ellipse rather. Marco Polo Centurion. Get a little bit of a buff. I think it's like the same thing here. Yeah, so Koenig Albert. Yep, this is cool. Nice little brawler at tier 3? 2? Whatever. No, it's like 3, I think. Maybe 4, I don't know. Ignis Bergestia. Napoli B was actually buffed mid-update, so W Wargaming for doing that, but also L for not doing it sooner. Or, when the Napoli was. But anyway, they did it like in the middle of the update, so it's fixed. Gascon, and this part right here, I was reading this briefly, and I can make a whole video on just how, like, I believe this, like, feeds into a conspiracy theory, but again, I just don't care. But if you read this right here, the length of the barbette ring was increased to reach the citadel. The ship's barbette armor is now more realistic, narrowing near the gun. The bulge armor was buffed from 18 to 32. So, but the part I'm talking about here is extended the barbette armor plates to the casement armor, making these areas more resistant to accidental hits. What does that mean? Accidental hits? Do you mean that shells can bounce down and get crazy citadels from weird angles? Now, there is a certain... I'm going to get into deep, complex, like, stuff that 85% of the people still listening to this long rant are not going to understand. But basically, you would get citadels at crazy weird angles, like, Donskoy on Kansas and stuff. And sometimes you could make an argument that the shell bounced, like it hit a plate of armor and bounced down into the citadel. And I think that's what they're talking about here. And again, a game like this, so with so much complexity and dependent on RNG, you're gonna have weird shit like that. But I feel like stuff like this needs to be looked at almost every update, in my opinion. Now, I know that the game developers want all of this stuff on page 1 for the money, but yeah, or that's probably what they're being told by the execs. But Le Foudre has the same changes here as Jean Bart. Richelieu, pretty much the same thing. So, yeah, Alsace, unnecessary barbette rings removed. I need to look at this. Kaiser, Koenig, K. Albert, Belfast, Carbet, Arc Royal, and Cross of Dorn were all adjusted in some way. It's mainly to the ship traits, which are like on the overview page, which 90% of the time they don't make sense anyway. But anyway, yeah, that is all I have for you guys here today. So, yeah, that is the May patch notes. And like I said, I think it's a decent one. I'm going to stream the update, maybe play a few new ships, and then that's it. So life is going pretty well. So yeah, we actually kind of semi-opened a new clinic today, and it was a clinic that only had minimal days, and I had a patient today tell me that she only wants to see me from now on. She'd been going to that clinic for 2 years. So yeah, it was a good feeling. The more you remove yourself from Legends, I think the better you feel about your life. But anyway, I wanted to do this video because I still have a lot of friends on this game, despite the bickering in my Discord today, which is just not going to happen anymore. There's so much more important things in life. I'm opening a new clinic, and in real life, that I open up like my phone later. It's like, what the hell is this? So that was just a little personal rant. But I'll link my Discord if you guys want to be involved in the tomfoolery in there. But yeah, that's the patch notes. Decent, not anything amazing or over the top, but decent. Few new ships. Of course, you have to pay for them. That's the Wargaming and Legends way. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Possibly this week I have another rant video. I know you guys love those. Love you guys. Hey, Ron out. Peace.